Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing good and healthy, and I pray every day. I just hope everybody's doing good. I know it's a sad time in our world and it's so different. I feel like it'll be a while before we're back to normal. I don't even think it'll be back to the way it ever used to be, as far as I just feel like there's going to be certain things that are going to be changed forever because of all of this. But I just hope you guys are all doing well. Sorry about not doing a live. I just wasn't feeling very good the last like 3 or 4 days, but I'm feeling better now. So I want to talk to you guys about the it's the newest Lori Vallow videos. It's from the police body cam when Charles stole Lori's purse, and he also made a report to have, like, he made an order to have her basically put into like a mental hospital to get her evaluated, like mentally evaluated, because I mean, he just, the way she started talking about this religion stuff, and it was just, well, we read some of the stuff that was in the report, how she was talking about how, you know, she was a god and a translated being and all this weird stuff. So there's this video out where it's kind of blurry. It's really blurry actually, but the cop has the body cam on when Lori goes and makes a report when Charles steals her purse, I guess. So yeah, you'll see that Lori will say how she found out that Charles was cheating, I guess, when he was away. He was on business, and she said she found something. She found out that he was cheating. So she told him, she called him and confronted him about it. And so she took the kids and went to a hotel because I guess she said, oh, she was afraid because a few times he kind of got a little crazy. So she was just trying to protect the kids. We know how much she's trying to protect the kids. Yeah, right. I don't know. But she took the kids because she said she was kind of afraid. She went to a hotel, and I guess she locked all the doors at the house so Charles couldn't get in. So when Charles came home from his trip, oh, but mind you, she canceled his flight. For his flight home, to get back home, she canceled it. So he had a heck of a time trying to get home. He had to reschedule his flight. Who does that? And then she took out a bunch of money. I'm going to tell you all the specifics, but she cleared out his bank account. She canceled his flight. She got a hotel. She locked the doors. So when Charles came home, he couldn't get in. So he kicked in the door. He called the cops to help him get in. And then supposedly he went to the school when she was dropping off JJ and got in her car and took her purse and it had her phone and everything in it. But from my understanding, he was trying to get the money back. I mean, come on, somebody takes like $35,000 out of your bank account. I mean, I think I would try to get my money back too. So I think he probably took the purse thinking maybe the money was in there to try to get it back. So anyway, he makes a report. He does this order for this this mental facility, like for her to get admitted and, you know, evaluated or whatever. She goes into the police to make the report, and then this is what the video's from. But I want to actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read you the report, and then I'll play you some clips of the video as the parts of the report kind of coincide with the video. Okay, so I'm going to start reading the report, like I said, and then I'll play you some clips of the actual footage of her going in there making a report about him stealing the purse. And it's crazy because it seems like the cops are kind of taking her side. I don't know, it kind of makes me mad now, knowing what we know now. They're probably kicking themselves in the butt too, knowing what they know now and how they were kind of taking her side. If they would have only stepped up and somehow, I guess, how can you see into the future? I mean, how could, from what she was putting off, I guess there would be no reason for the cops to think anything different, but still, it doesn't seem fair. On 1/31/19, at approximately 12:36 hours, OIT Reportella and I were dispatched to the lobby of the GPD in regards to a harassment call for service. We arrived in the lobby of the PD and met with Lori Ryan Vallow, her 16-year-old daughter Tylee Ryan, and Lori's friend, and we know that was Melanie Gibb, was her friend.
No, I won't fit with those handles.
No? So I wasn't going to file a report, but my friend who is a police officer told me to file a report.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just good to have it on record, so.
Yeah, okay, I got a little bit of info from dispatch.
Yeah.
We spoke to all parties in an interview room in the lobby area and was informed of the following. Lori stated her husband, Charles Vallow, had taken Lori's purse, which included her wallet, ID, and credit cards and cell phone from Lori's vehicle while she walked their son into his school.
Said he stole your phone and your purse? Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about it?
So yesterday, I got in an argument with my husband on the phone, and he was in Texas working, and I found some stuff that he'd been doing, so he was really defensive. And so I took the kids, we spent the night in a hotel because I knew he was coming home. And so this morning when I took my son, when I went into the school to take him into school, he was waiting somewhere and like stole my purse out of the car, my whole purse. So my phone, my wallet, my money, my everything was in there.
And you could hear Lori explain what happened, acting the old innocent me, laughing and joking around like it's not even, she's not even taking it serious. It's like a joke.
So I had the door locked, but the sunroof was open because we have a service dog, and he was in the car, and I didn't want to, my son was kind of throwing a fit, I didn't want to get them both out of the car because it was a mess this morning. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have any of our stuff because we spent the night in a hotel, and he was out of his element. And so I didn't lock the door for like the first time ever, and he like, whatever, either got it out, I don't remember if the door was locked, he got it out, or he reached through the sunroof and just got it.
It should be noted, Lori provided a lot of background information regarding her and her Charles's relationship. Lori indicated that she had information that Charles had cheated on her while on business trips, and she had left their home with her kids prior to his arrival back in Arizona last night. And you could see her daughter, Tylee, actually kind of calms her down a couple times, like, you know, like almost like Tylee's the adult, and Lori's acting all like, and Tylee's just like, okay, like kind of like does this a couple times. I know it's blurry, but you can kind of see her kind of like, okay, settle down. It's like she's more of an adult than Lori. And then Lori talks about how Charles does this often and how she caught him cheating and how, God, just the way she says it, and his stuff would be gone and his car would be gone. It's so annoying. I just don't like this girl at all. I mean, tell me what you guys think. I mean, how, it just makes me, when I hear her say that, like, almost like so immature the way she's saying it, like a kid, like almost like a teenager, like your stuff will be gone and your thing will be gone. And that's one of the times that Tylee's like, okay, because she's just acting like immature.
Like, is this something that's happened before, or is this like...
Unfortunately, yeah, we've had to even go to hotels just to like calms down or something, you know, so we've done that before.
What is it like that motivates him doing this kind of stuff? Does he say one?
He just goes nuts sometimes. But
just goes
this
nuts
time
sometimes?
I caught him cheating, and I had evidence, and I told him about it, and he travels a lot for business, so I told him about it and told him not to come home, and that his stuff would be gone, and that his car would be gone, and all this thing. So he's a little mad.
She's just trying to protect herself. Yeah.
But I just left with the kids because I didn't want them in all the drama.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Lori mentions how Tylee applied to the police academy, and I guess she has her GED, so she wasn't in high school. He said, she said, she's 16 and has her GED. So I didn't realize that. I was thinking she was still in high school, because I remember one of the comments we were talking about on the video, one of the comments was like, oh, is she in college, or how could she be in college? She's only 16. But here that answers the question. She got her GED early, and yep, so she could have been in college. That summer or whenever, applied to college that next year, that next fall. But, so I don't know. She talks about how she might want to be a police officer, Tylee. So that kind of makes me sad, because she didn't have the opportunity to even do that.
She's going to apply to the academy. She's now a high school graduate, right? At 16.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah, well, she got her GED, so she's moving on with life.
You really want to be a police officer?
Maybe. You never know.
We'll look forward to this stuff, man. I'm actually pretty new myself, so I just got on, it's like my first month on training after out of the academy, so that's why he's doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
Lori indicated she just wanted her property back and wanted the incident documented, but no charges. The worst part is when she is talking about, she doesn't care anything else about anything else in the purse. She just wants her lip gloss. Oh my God, how old is she? Is she like a 16-year-old teenager or something. Like, I don't care about anything else. I just want my lip gloss. Making a joke about it, and then almost making a joke like it's no big deal that she cleared out the account. It's a joint account, so yeah, I took money out, but it's joint account, so it's like almost, oh, that gives her a pass. She could take, it's her money. Even though, I mean, I know joint account, it's both of theirs. Obviously, he's the one making it, but it doesn't mean you could just take all of it. I mean, that's just, you do a joint account because you trust the other person to be fair. When you go take it all, I mean, that what, yeah, maybe legally it would be hard to get it back, but still, morally, you just don't do that. And she's just acting like it's not a big deal that she did that.
I just wanted to be on record, and if you can get the purse back, that'd be lovely, because all my stuff is in there. I'm really mad about my lip gloss.
What
All
about
of
credit
this stuff
cards?
goes in there. Well, he has all the cards and all this
Yeah.
stuff, so he's mad because I took the money out of our account, but it's a joint account, so he wants me to give him money.
Okay,
And-
that's all a civil issue.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Purse, there's no reason why he's walking around with your purse, your ID, that he doesn't have a right to.
Right,
Married or
that's what I'm
not
saying.
married,
All
I
the
mean.
rest of the stuff is our joint stuff together,
Yeah.
so.
With Lori's permission, I called Charles via telephone. Charles stated he was at the school this morning to assist GPD with serving on Lori, which he obtained overnight. When Lori walked her son into the school, Charles stated her purse was on the ground next to her car, and he took the purse to keep it safe. Charles had many excuses as to why he did not give it back to her. I informed Charles he could be charged with theft, but that Lori only wanted the items back. Charles stated he wanted his share of the money Lori had pulled out of their joint bank account. Charles then asked me if we were going to serve the order on Lori. I informed Charles I had no knowledge of the petition and he could bring Lori's property and the petition to the PD so it could get verified by my sergeant. Charles stated he would be driving to the PD to give me the items and the petition. During my contact with Lori, I found her to be in a normal state of mind, but only slightly upset she did not have her property. So yeah, the cop ends up going to talk to Charles on the phone. He calls him, and Charles talks about that petition for the hold that he has. And so the cop says, okay, we'll bring it. So he comes back in, he talks to Lori, he says, okay, well, he's going to bring your purse, he's going to bring the petition for the hold, and it'll take us, a while to check to see if it's, to verify it. And he said, well, we can't hold you here, you're free to go. So while we're checking to see if it's good, I mean, you could go home, you could do whatever, and then it's if we come, basically we're not going to come busting down the door. So if you see cops outside your door and you don't want to go, then just don't answer the door. I mean, who says that? Whose side is he taking? Obviously he's already taking her side. It just, I mean, he keeps saying, well, I can't take sides or whatever, but it just seems like they're more on her side than his.
And when I talked to him, he was all upset, wondering what are we going to do about that. I have no, until it is verified by my sergeant that it's still active, they still want you, I can't hold you against your will. But if it's verified by my sergeant, which he says could take a little while, then if it is verified, then I have to take you to Community Bridges. It's a mental health behavior place to get looked at. But while it's being verified, I have no right to keep you and hold you, just so you're aware. So he's supposedly en route with your purse and your phone, and then and the order also, which needs to be verified by my sergeant. So we will facilitate the transfer of the purse and the phone, and while we go give the mental health petition to my sergeant, and she's verifying it, you do whatever you feel you need to do.
Okay.
How we're going to get that to go away, I do not know. You may need to you can probably contact Community Bridges, that's CBI, Community Bridges. We have one, I don't know if you even want to just go up there, at Mesa Drive and Baseline. It's off Javelina, which is the street before you get to the freeway if you're going north towards the freeway. Find out what you need to do to prove yourself, because what it is committal paperwork.
Right.
They can hold you for 24, 48, however long they deem it necessary to get you evaluated,
Right.
based off just what your husband said.
Says.
Yeah.
Wow.
So doctors play it
Sorry.
safe.
I
Doctors,
just think it's funny because he's trying to tell everyone.
Just let him
right.
explain.
So,
That's very smart.
Because I'm really the one that did
And-
something wrong.
but no, here's the thing: is I don't know, and I'm not going to take sides.
Right, no,
but
I
just
don't know.
talking to you, I mean, I don't see you being a danger to yourself or anybody else. You got your kids to school.
Right.
I don't know, but I'm not gonna place that, I'm just gonna let you know that we are required, if you're here, that we will, even with force if we have to,
Right.
if you're still here when it's approved, we'll have to take you to CDI.
Okay. And what is it called? I'm just gonna write it down.
Community Bridges.
Okay.
That's where we take you. Now, I don't know who he went through to get the order taken care of.
That's what I'm saying. How do you even get that? He got that in the middle of the night? How do you get something in the middle of the night?
It's, family members can do it for other ones who have like drug dependency or not getting help,
Who do
mental health
Yeah, but how would he get?
issues.
He had to come here. Isn't stuff closed?
It's not here. There are places you can go.
And then she makes a joke about, oh, do they have good facilities? Do they have, I haven't slept in 3 days. Do they have a gym where I can work out in? And just makes a joke like, oh, maybe I'll go because, you know, I haven't slept in 3 days. So if they have some good facilities, I could sleep. I could work out in the gym if they have a gym. Like making a joke about it. This is a serious thing. That he made this order because he's concerned about her well-being and about his kids' well-being, and she's making a freaking joke about it.
We don't bust down doors to get you,
Yeah.
but we will knock. So if you see police officers knocking, talk to them through the door if you really don't want to go.
Okay.
If you want a free medical evaluation,
I was
psychological
gonna say I haven't
evaluation,
gotten any sleep in about 3 days. They have good facilities.
they do actually, from what I understand.
A gym where I could work out.
yeah,
You're
so-
kind of happy.
Like I said,
You'll be okay
Off-
without your mama.
You are going to get a padded room.
so officers don't kick down doors to serve these. They're civil orders.
Right.
They're for your safety. It's not illegal. If it was because you're a danger to yourself, it's not illegal to kill yourself. So we
Right.
don't go busting down doors.
Right.
But if we make contact with you, there's nothing separating us. At that point,
You can
we
just
know
say
it's
anything
you.
you want about someone and get a mental health order against them.
Not, so if it's a family member, and depending on what he told the doctors, usually they'll do it just to be safe. Otherwise,
So
say
you can
something
say they're
happens
suicidal or
to
something
you.
and
Right,
then get it.
so something happens, you do something to yourself, he's gonna go after those doctors. I told you, you didn't sign the order, she should have gotten help, that
Right.
sort of thing. So
Do
there
you
becomes
know?
some liability.
Do you know what he said?
No.
No?
1 Frank 17.
Lori showed no signs of mental distress as she described what was occurring and appeared to be in a good mood. Talking with Lori's daughter and friend, they did not seem concerned for anything other than Lori getting her property back. So Tylee reads the text that Charles wrote to her saying, sorry, I had to do it. So I'm sure it was about that petition for an involuntary hold at that community bridges that he was talking about. So he's basically just telling Tylee, sorry, I had to do it. It's just basically saying it's almost it's for the better, you know? And then Lori's almost mocking Charles because she's saying how like, oh, he thinks that JJ will be in danger, and just the way she says it's almost like mocking, like, oh, come on, like JJ's really gonna be in danger in my hands. Well, yeah, now we see he was right. So it's just her attitude about it, like mocking him that he would even say that. How, God forbid that he would even say that. Well, now, like I said, he was right. Now we understand why he said that. Once again, you can see Tylee trying to calm her mom down when she starts talking.
What's he texting you?
I have the text. He was basically just texting me.
He's acting like that my son was in danger. I was worried about JJ's
Okay.
safety and things and texting her like he's gonna.
So he at first texted me, "You doing okay today? Hey girl, are you sick? Please say to your mom. I may not be home for a bit. Love you." Sent me a strange link to a website about our church.
About
That-
crazy people.
Yeah. Said this is what's happening, and then he texted me at almost midnight. I'm so, but I have no choice. I'm just sick. Danger. I had no choice. Which he didn't file a police report or anything as far as we know. So I'm just assuming he was trying to get a response. And then I love you. He was,
Police report about what?
or I don't know, but he was acting like he did something.
And then those
basically.
text messages came from, do you have it entered as mom's phone? Or?
No, that was from him.
That's before he
That was
didn't.
from
Take,
That's
his
before
phone.
he.
he didn't take the
yeah.
first until 8:30
This was
morning
last
when I was
night.
at school.
That was from his mom.
And he was sending word for word the same text to my cousin, like
What's his name?
Charles.
So it was a petition for an involuntary hold at the community bridges is what he had. He had an order for it, right? So Charles is saying after she refused to go, he took her purse. Well, he said she left it and he took her purse. Who knows if he took it, if it was laying on the side or he did go in her car. But I don't blame him. If she took $35,000 out of his car and maybe he wanted her to go to the community bridges and she wouldn't do it. I mean, I kind of don't blame him for that. I mean, I guess knowing now what we know. So then she talks about how she wanted to take the kids to the hotel after she caught him cheating. Well, she figured out he was cheating somehow, so she called him and she basically, I guess that's when she changed the locks and took the kids to the hotel. And she said that she just didn't want them in the drama and she just didn't want anything to happen. She just felt like, basically for their safety, she had to take them to the hotel because she didn't want them to be exposed to the drama or exposed to anything. Yeah, we know how much she cares about their safety.
But I just left with the kids because I didn't want them in all the drama.
Yeah.
So then you took your phone and purse, and has he tried to make contact with you since?
He's trying to contact me through her. He has
Through
my
her?
phone. I don't have a way to be
Okay.
contacted.
Yeah, and I
I wasn't
know
sure if you tried to.
I didn't know what her phone. I couldn't contact her.
Nobody
But
could
why said
contact
she
me. I
called
just went and bought a phone so I could have a phone, a little
Yeah, so
throwaway phone so I could.
And then how Charles wanted her to meet him at therapy to get her stuff back. But then she's saying, well, you don't understand. He doesn't want me to just go to therapy. He'll do all kinds of stuff to me in the parking lot before therapy. Whatever that means, what does she mean? What stuff is she talking about he's going to do to her in the parking lot? I don't understand that.
Have you called him to ask him if he'd bring your stuff back?
Well, he talked to her about it, so he
And what
said,
was,
yeah, I said, would you be willing to give me the purse for Lori? You know, and he goes, no, unless she does this, and all these things.
don't speak in generalities, I
Oh,
want
sorry.
specifics.
he wants me to
What
meet
did
him
he
at
say?
therapy today
So
or
he
something,
wanted
or something.
to meet
With
him
a
at
purse.
therapy.
But he wasn't going to give you the purse. He just was saying he'd give it to me if I meet him there.
Okay,
Right.
But I don't really
And-
want to talk to him today if I don't have to. So.
okay.
Then Melanie is saying how Charles was texting her. Well, how Charles texted her, acting like Lori, telling her to come over. So Melanie comes over, thinking she's going to meet Lori, and it's Charles. And Charles says, "Oh, I deceived you. It was me." And then how she says that he's trying to get her to take his side, talking about how crazy Lori is and trying to figure out where she is, I guess. And Melanie said, "Oh, he was trying to get me to take her side." But she wasn't able to show the text to the police. So she was in that interview, but why couldn't she show the text? If that just happened that morning, and why didn't she show him the text that Charles texted her? That was just kind of weird that she didn't do that.
Right?
Where is she? Of course, I didn't say where she was. I didn't know where she was. She didn't actually.
I didn't tell anybody
She
where
didn't
the
tell me
hotel
she
we're at
was.
because I just thought it was safer for everybody to not
Yeah,
go.
he just basically wanted me to take his side, I think, and just say.
Told her how crazy I was and
Right.
stuff like that. So.
What was your name?
Melanie.
Your last name?
GIBB.
And then they the cop asked if Charles had ever done this before. Is this normal? And they said yes, he has, but this is the most extreme. It never was this extreme. And they say basically since Tylee has been born, he did it about 3 times that Tylee was aware of, but never that extreme. So this whole thing about him being abusive, that's obviously a lie because he wasn't even abusive there. As far as physically abusive. Obviously, he didn't hit her there in this situation, and they said this was the most extreme. So that means he never hit her then. Think about it. If this was the most extreme, and even in this one he didn't hit her, or there was no physical abuse, and she said this was the most extreme, then that means those other times he probably didn't hit her. So this physical abuse thing that she claimed, which we know, I don't want to say we know, but my opinion is she just had to make it seem that way so that self-defense was more believable for Alex, that he was protecting her because she was afraid that physically, it helps for a whole self-defense thing. So I think they just exaggerated it so they could get away with that.
Whatever, because he got snagged,
And this is just a recent thing? Has he done this before, or like?
This is in like 24 hours. Like, or he's done stuff
Like, has he done this before? Yeah.
But this whole
Not this
situation
extreme,
happened.
No.
but he's been ballistic where we had to leave because he was being awful, and I didn't want him to hurt one of the kids or something.
Probably 3 or 4 times that I can remember.
Yeah, 13 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really just a stand-up guy overall.
So a couple of weird things that they call at the beginning of the interview. They call one of Charles's friends, which I guess Charles had kind of confided in, and actually let him in on a three-way conversation when he was talking to Lori, when Lori was kind of going off on him. And I guess he said that he listened to the phone call and Lori was kind of being weird with her. I guess he said that Charles has been telling him that Lori has kind of been acting odd and how she has some kind of extreme religious views. And also he mentions how she canceled his flight, and how she took his computer, which I guess is really important for his business. So she takes his computer.
You're listed as a witness on a petition for an involuntary committal of a Charles Vallow.
Yes.
What can you tell me about? I'm just kind of doing a little bit of follow-up on this paperwork, and I was hoping you could just kind of enlighten me, because these things are handwritten, so sometimes they don't necessarily encapsulate everything that you could tell me.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough situation. I'll bring up to speed as best I know here, but his wife, she had been getting into some religious things that troubled him. The relationship was a bit odd in the last few months, and it kind of all came to a head when he went out of town. He had me listen to a conversation that he had with her where she was making some strange statements. You know, to be very clear, there was nothing threatening or terroristic of any kind. She didn't threaten to hurt herself or the children or him.
Okay.
She did tell him that she was going to get rid of his stuff, which actually was true, that when he got back, his things were actually gone from the house.
Okay.
When he returned, she had canceled his flights and done some other things to kind of make it really difficult for him to get back.
Yeah.
When he did return, he found that the house was all locked up. No one was home. Gilbert PD helped break in a door so that he...
Also, he says how she canceled his flight, she took his stuff.
He found some things missing, some clothes, a computer, but no one was home.
Okay.
And no evidence as to where they had gone.
So,
That's really the gist of it. I understand now from third parties that she is staying at a hotel, but she appears to be okay. The children are okay. I haven't talked to Charles here for a little bit, so I'm not sure where he is at.
And also how she's told him on the phone conversation that he listened in on to Lori. She says she will destroy him. But like his friend said, he doesn't know what she meant by that. Maybe she just meant his spirit or his financially or whatever she meant. He wasn't sure.
Everything was subjective. She did use the word destroy. She said, "I will destroy you," but it was done in a very subjective way that it didn't necessarily come across as a direct threat to him or the children or herself.
okay. Like it could have been destroy his reputation or something less literal?
His spirit, for all we know, his spirit powers or something. It's just very non-specific.
Okay.
And then the one weird thing he said that he did find weird is a mother saying that you could have the kids. The one thing, he just says weird for a mother to say, well, you could have the kids.
The only thing that actually concerned me out of the conversation that I thought was beyond the pale, so to speak, was, he said, "Hey, I just want to see the kids," and she said something to the effect of, "Well, you want the kids, I'll give them to you," which I thought was a bit strange for a mom to say.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what made me wonder what was actually going on in her mind at that moment.
Okay.
But she sounded very lucid.
She takes all this money out, so he isn't able to pay his employees. So I have this email from one of his employees that's so mad because he didn't pay him.
Okay, so it says, "Gentlemen, I need to know where the rest of my commissions are. I've received a check for $2,500, but a lot more is outstanding. Can I get an update as to when this check is going to be coming to me? Frankly, this has taken much too long, and as I discussed with Charles, I will take action if this goes another month. let me know, John. So you can see it's one of the people getting mad because one of the people that Lori's selfishness and evilness has affected, she takes the money out of the business account and transfers it into her joint checking account. How messed up is that? Like purposely trying to mess with him so bad. Gosh. No wonder why he acted like he did. I mean, I think he acted pretty good, all things considering what she was doing to him. She was torturing him, man.
And this happened a bunch of his employees weren't getting paid. So he was basically about to lose his business, to lose everything, because she freaking took all his money out of the bank. And her saying, well, it's a joint account, so it's mine too. Whatever. So yeah, Charles said his personal reputation and his business's reputation were severely damaged by Lori's actions. He feared he wouldn't be able to repair that damage if Lori didn't return the money soon. Charles also realized that Lori had transferred 2,000 points of the rent-a-car points out of their joint account. And he thought Charles was worried that Lori was going to try to use those points to leave with JJ, because she also called JJ's school one day to see if he was in class. So he was worried she was going to use those points to take JJ out of the state. So this, on January 29th, right, Lori called Charles to tell him she was a god sent to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming. If he got in the way of that mission, she would kill him. The next day, January 30th, Charles went on a business trip to Texas, and then that's when, according to the court documents, she said in another phone call she was definitely going to kill him. In fact, she was going to kill him as soon as he returned from his trip. She told him she had an angel waiting to dispose his body. Oh my gosh. And it says that her threats weren't limited to murder, because they were also, she was planning on destroying him financially. Wow, this girl is crazy. And then if you think about it, less than 6 months after she threatened to kill him, he ends up dead. Shot by her brother. Coincidence? I don't think so. But then, for some reason, Charles filed to dismiss the divorce proceedings on March 1st. So on February 8th, he filed for divorce, and then he dismissed it on March 1st. He said he wanted to make the marriage work. So she probably somehow talked him into it, and then I still think, and then, oh yeah, then she disappeared for 58 days. Some of the stuff that when Charles came home, this is what she did. So she wiped out his business account, withdrawing $35,000. And plus she made some smaller withdrawals. So when she was done taking out all the money, he only had $911 left in his account, right? But then there were 2 more withdrawals made on the 30th. One for $500 and then another for $250, leaving the account with only $161. And then $100 of that was put toward a credit card payment, leaving the account with only $61. And then she hit his truck. But let's not forget how she canceled his flight. So this is, she cancels his flight, and then when he comes home, she does this. $35,000 taken out, and then all these other withdrawals. She hit his truck. It took him 3 days to find it. She hit his clothes and his computer. He thought, hiding the computer and clothes was a way to kind of destroy him financially, because he needs his clothes to do business. He needs his computer. He has all the information on his computer. She did that right before payroll was due, leaving him vulnerable to lawsuits. So all his employees could sue him because he owed him money. And then she took her disabled son's meds, his iPad, and his service dog's collar. She changed the locks to the house, and then she went MIA for 58 days, not telling Charles where she went. 58 days. And a part of that time we know was spent in Hawaii. So I guess she flew to Hawaii on February 10th. Her and Tylee flew to Kauai, Hawaii. I think that's how you say it. So yeah, so Lori and Tylee flew to Kauai, Hawaii, and gone for 58 days. Maybe not the whole time in Hawaii, but she was gone for 58 days total. They think she probably spent some of that time with Alex, her brother, too. Oh my gosh, this girl is crazy. Okay, so then, so when Charles called Lori again, she picked up the phone this time, told him that she and JJ were in a hotel for the night. She would drop JJ off at school the next day, and Charles could go ahead and pick him up in the afternoon. Lori then informed him she wanted nothing more to do with him or the children. What the heck? Didn't want anything more to do with him or the children. She had more important mission to carry out, the document said. It took Lori 3 days to disclose where she left the truck. Charles was forced to rent a vehicle during that time. Well, when she was gone the 58 days, it says after getting JJ back, Charles repeatedly tried to contact Lori so he could retrieve JJ's clothes, medication, and iPad. Lori did not respond. Charles said during that time, Lori never once contacted him about JJ's well-being or asked to see JJ. Her behavior had caused emotional harm to JJ, who has special needs and is unable to understand the circumstances or situation happening, said the document. So I'm going to read you the document about that petition for an involuntary hold at community bridges that Charles got on Lori. Okay, so first of all, this is about when she was still in the police office, when she was making that report, and they were totally like telling her that it wasn't necessary. Basically, it would be, if that petition went through and it was valid, that it wasn't a legal thing, it wasn't a criminal issue, so they wouldn't bust down the door. So basically, if she didn't want to go, just don't answer the door when the cops come and try to get her. Just don't answer the door. That's what they tell her. Just don't answer the door if you don't really want to go. It's not going to be like, we're going to bust down the door. They were totally taking her side. But anyway, so this is when she was at the police station and they were explaining the order a little bit. So she says, I talked with Acting Sergeant Gallus, who informed me of his review of the petition Charles had dropped off at the GPD earlier in the day. I was informed by Sergeant Gallus of information he had found out when attempting to verify the petition. I informed Sergeant Gallus of my observation from talking to Lori. Sergeant Gallus informed me that he would talk with Lieutenant Lyle and call me back. I received a call back, and based on all the information we had, it was determined I would talk to Lori, and I encouraged her to talk with the employees at Community Bridges today, or I could give her a courtesy ride there if she wished. So this is the document after the cops had verified that petition for an involuntary hold. They verified that it was good, it was current, so here's the report, the narrative of it. I talked with Lori and explained to her about the involuntary hold. Lori was confused as to how someone can make up information to get someone involuntary committed. I explained to Lori the process, and regardless of the truthfulness of the petition, it did exist and she needed to take care of it. I informed Lori if she didn't take care of it, it would still be official and I would then have to take her involuntarily. Lori stated that she would go on her own. Tylee and Melanie stated that they would ensure she checked in and talked with people at Community Bridges, stated that she would not leave Lori tonight until she had done this. Based on the information provided to me by Sergeant Gallus, Lori's demeanor during our conversation, and the fact she had family and a friend ensuring Lori would contact them, I did not feel it necessary to take Lori against her will. So this is also a narrative of kind of Charles' side when he was the morning of 131 for Charles. So this is kind of the narrative of who was in contact with him. So it says, on the morning of 131, 2019, I was made aware of a pickup order for a listed patient of Lori Vallow. Sergeant Gillis explained that Patrol Team 17 attempted to contact Lori at the address listed on the pickup order. Officers were met at the residence by her husband, Charles Vallow. Charles was the listed petitioner on the pickup order. Charles explained to officers that Lori had been acting irrationally and had changed the locks to the residence while he was out of town. Oh yeah, so she changed the locks. You know, in the interview, she was acting like, oh, he changed the locks. Like, she was acting like he was crazy because when Melanie got over there, he was getting the locks changed. But she forgot to mention that she had the locks changed first, right? So that's why you couldn't get in. Ultimately, Charles made entry into the residence and discovered that Lori had moved out with their children. Later in the morning, Patrol Team 11 officers were dispatched to the Hyatt Hotel on Market Street to meet Charles as he had information that Lori was staying there. I responded to the scene as the supervisor of Team 11. Charles explained that he found Lori at their child's school. While she took their child inside, Charles took her keys, phone, and wallet from her vehicle in an attempt to prevent her from leaving. He phoned police about her location and asked she be picked up on the pickup order. Lori had extra keys to the car and was able to leave. Charles located a room key to a Hyatt Hotel in Lori's belongings. He drove to the Hyatt Hotel on Market Street and attempted to figure out where Lori was staying. We contacted him there. While speaking to Charles, he expressed concern over some money that Lori had moved from his business account. In fact, as we spoke, he expressed a desire to leave quickly and handle financial matters at the bank. I pointed out to Charles that perhaps his priority should be to check the welfare of his child. I reminded Charles that he said Lori was unstable. Charles didn't seem concerned with his child's welfare and said the child could stay in school and perhaps we could catch Lori as she picked him up. Why would he be concerned if JJ was in school? That's why he wasn't concerned, because he was at the school. He knew that JJ was safe at school. So that doesn't even make sense why the cops are making it seem like, oh, Charles didn't care about his kid because he was worried about his financial situation when Charles knew that JJ was at school. So the cops are just totally taking her side. I told Charles we weren't going to do a sting operation to catch Lori. He left to go to the bank. During my conversation with Charles, I found his demeanor to be strange for a person in his circumstances. He seemed more concerned with asking questions about the legality of financial withdrawals Lori had made than her alleged incoherence. I discussed the case at length with Lieutenant Lyle and completed some more research. A witness was listed on the pickup order. His name was, and it was alleged that, so that was the friend that we heard him talking to at the beginning of the video, where he let him listen to the conversation and kind of confided in him about how Lori's been acting strange. And then it does say that Lori did check herself in on February 1st, 2019 at approximately 6:45 hours. I called and I was informed Lori Vallow had checked herself in and was discharged a few hours later. So she checked herself in and then they discharged her. Oh, and I wanted to read you one more thing and then about the insurance. How she did think, it sounds like she did think, it wasn't until after he died the next day where she realized that she wasn't the beneficiary. So that's a motive right there. She did think she was a beneficiary when she had Alex shoot him. So let me find it. She says that Kay said that Kay, which is Charles's sister, the one that he changed the beneficiary to, which is actually JJ's biological grandparents. So Kay said she last heard from Lori in late July 2019 regarding Charles's life insurance policy. Lori sent me a picture of the change of beneficiary form and she wrote a note underneath it and it went something like, 5 kids and no money and his sister gets everything.
She sent me a picture of the change of beneficiary form and she wrote a note underneath it and it went something like 5 kids and no money and his sister gets everything.
So I guess Charles told his lawyer, Taylor Larson, that he feared for his life and did not want Lori to know he planned to remove her from the policy. And he said because of the circumstances surrounding it, with him fearing for his life and really stressing to us, there's some credibility here.
Because of the circumstances surrounding it, with him fearing for his life, really stressing to us, there's some credibility here, and so we went ahead and advised him to change it right away.
That Kay actually says Charles confided in her about his concerns. So he confided in his sister. He said that he told her that Lori told him that she didn't want JJ anymore and that she didn't want him anymore. And that was the night she left, January 30th. She took Charles' clothes, JJ's clothes, all that stuff. And then she told him that she didn't want JJ and that she didn't want him anymore. But then he did file for a divorce, but then he dismissed it. Okay, so then he told his other attorney, Stephen Ellsworth, he said, I'm afraid I'm going to be killed and I know who's going to do it, said attorney Stephen Ellsworth. I'm telling you, Steve, so that if something happens to me, I want to make sure you let everyone know that something happens, I'm killed, that it's my wife Lori and her brother Alex Cox. Wow, he already saw it coming. He already knew. Oh my gosh. So I am glad that she had it changed. So yeah, I guess I forgot to say, after he filed for divorce on February 8th, he filed a second document asking for temporary custody of JJ, which I read you some of the information there, and it said, oh, and then also the exclusive use of the house and vehicle, return of the stolen money, return of his and JJ's personal items. So he filed a document, but he couldn't find Lori to serve her with the divorce papers. So he tried several attempts. He made several attempts, and then she ended up vanishing for 58 days. That's when she went to Hawaii. But he said he tried to go to her brother's house, he tried to go to her friend's house, he tried to serve her, and she just kept changing her travel plans. When he would figure out, maybe the one time he figured out what airport she was going to be at, she changed her plans, she left, she was MIA, and he's trying to serve her with these papers. But then some reason in March he ends up dismissing it. So I don't know. She probably came back and just manipulated him to, oh, I'm so sorry, whatever she did to make him change his mind. But I'm glad he still did change the beneficiary. I guess there's a video of the neighbor. They took a quick video. I only have a picture of it. She said where it was taken 2 days before Tylee was last seen. I guess it's of Tylee, another kid, and JJ playing in a puddle. like a mud puddle or whatever, just a puddle from, you know, the rain, with stuffed animals and playing in the puddle with the stuffed animals that she found kind of weird. So she took like a video in her blinds. But I only was able to get the picture. Maybe I could find the video somewhere. But where she took it through her blinds because she thought it was kind of weird. But this was 2 days before Tylee was last seen. Okay guys, so that's it for this. Like I said, I hope you guys are all doing good and safe and healthy and as happy as you possibly can be right now. Hopefully we'll do a live soon. I get to chat with you all because I've been thinking of all you guys seriously and pray every night, and I just hope you guys are all well. I really do. So, yeah, hope you guys all have a good day. Bye. Take care, guys.